playoffs. This would guarantee that they were finishing the split in the top 10. As you can see, V5 on the red side, this time banning Hecarim, banning the Thresh as well, whereas IG banning away mid laners in the Zoe and the Seraphine for now.
I think IG have read V5 like a book. All the action starting on V5 usually comes from mid lane. Mole is the guy to go out of his own lane and start creating things for the rest of the team. He's the main one that's actually linking up PP God and Weiwei across the map. So they're taking away most of his early aggression champions. And I do want to just see V5 hold on to their top lane. In the last game, they went for a blind Gnar pick. I don't think that's really necessary here. Just continue to go for the Rel. That's PP God's best champion. I would say go for a Kai'Sa, because that actually helps you in the 1-3-1. It's one of the few AD carries that can join cross map. And, you know, just sit on those counter picks for your solo lanes.
Yep, the Kai'Sa, it's also just an incredibly high priority pick, right? And I don't feel like Tristana is necessarily the usual kind of pick for Puff, but it's something we could certainly see. But Weiwei has that Lilia available. Lilia was banned in the first game, so maybe could go towards that one, but instead going for the Rel, because obviously I guess he could go back to the Lilia in a second. We could see a bot lane lock-in though for IG here.
Typically is the bot lane coming out, and there's actually a lot of answers to this bot lane. It is a lane that doesn't shove particularly well, and we could just seeing things like Aphelios come out again, Jinx come out, and try to just push that lane in. IG do have an avenue to play for the bot side, and this does look like what they're drafting for. Just we don't usually see this, but potentially the Shy on the weak side top lane just being left alone, and them trying to focus onto Puff and Lucas. That seems to be the draft strategy for IG right now, and we're going to see V5 trying to be banning away the AD carries. I think AD carries are very easy to pinch on this patch, and we could just be seeing the Kalista being taken off of the table. That's sort of been the go-to here.
Yeah, trying to take some of these aggressive AD carries off the table from IG. The Tristana banned away. You could ban the Kalista, which is kind of that... I mean, it would be a double ban if the Redector wasn't locked in. Obviously, we know the Shy does love that. You could also ban something like the Lucian, which has been a bit of a go-to, but I guess with an Udyr in the jungle, it's not as strong of a pick for Rookie in that mid lane, so we'll see where they go with that ban. And for IG, banning away the Gragas here, which I guess towards launching on the top side, you could maybe ban the Gnar, ban some of these weak side top laners.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to ban Nards just yet, just because of their success in the in game 1. And I'm really surprised that they actually left the Kalista up here. So not really thinking that they're going to go hyper aggressive into that matchup and taking away the Orianna. So the Orianna ban is pretty interesting because we have seen Orianna be a really strong counter to things like Ryze and Sylas. So that could be sending a signal that maybe Mole is considering going on some of those champions that not many people play in the LPL, but he can actually take into a side lane.
We'll see where they're going to go with this one. As yeah, the Ornn banned away is... I mean, we're not really seeing Ornn, but I guess it is that kind of weak side pick. The Gnar comes in, and Shun is rubbing his hands together gleefully at that lock-in, because he knows how to dive a Gnar pretty effectively. And the Shy has that Redected. We just saw that exact same top lane 2v2 for IG, and we'll see if they can find their advantages again in game number 2 here. But now, the Kalista, you talked about it, Puff locks it in, nice and easy, and then just a blind pick for Rookie. It's his classic Syndra.
This is probably the strongest 15-minute comp you can have in the game. Every single lane is expected to have priority. They will shove in, they will skirmish really well. V5 have to try and weather the storm through some of this aggression. I think their best opportunity is to play very far back onto the top side and just make sure that the bot side actually gets an early gank or something like that. That's going to be my expectation. It is going to be the Sylas coming out, so trying to teach Rookie how to actually play this one correctly. This is a matchup that we shouldn't really expect much action for in the mid lane early, so IG will once again have mid jungle priority roaming into the top side. So we have to see if V5 can once again keep Longxing alive, or if they're going to repeat the mistakes.
Yeah, that'll be the question. It does feel like they have more early presence on the side of V5 this time around, though. Maybe not quite as much as IG, but at least they have some kind of composition that can potentially fight better in that early game. Because game number 1, it was IG just running away with things. The big thing that I'm scared for on the side of E5 is that Gnar in the top side. We've seen Shun just dive the mini Gnars time and time again. Wouldn't be too surprised to see IG try and rinse and repeat that. The pressure is on Weiwei here to match that pressure.
I will say this Sylas is actually a win condition in its own. If you look at the late game damage coming out from IG, they don't have a lot of damage to deal with Sylas. That's going to be stealing away the Unbreakable Will. That is going to be an unkillable Sylas into the backline. So Mole, he has his carry pick. If they can just make it to the 20-minute mark without losing, I think they're fine even if they're down 3,000 gold. I think 3,000 gold is perfectly acceptable for V5. They just want to go later into the game as much as possible, and Mole on his Sylas will carry them through late.
Once again, though, V5 leaning towards late game compositions. It's not what you usually expect to see, in case anyone's just joined. And since it's my favorite stat, I'm just going to drop it again, in case anyone doesn't know. V5 have yet to win a game when they're behind at the 15-minute mark here in the LPL. If they lose, this will be their last game of the split. I'm just hoping if they can get themselves a win here, let it be after losing early game. Let them be behind at 15 and then come back. That would make my day if they could shatter that statistic as they come into game number 2. That would be a beautiful way to finish out the split for them and actually to keep their playoff dreams alive. If V5 can win this series, they can still make playoffs. But it feels like a difficult task right now after game 1.
I will say, if there is ever a draft to come back from, this is the draft. IG have given themselves the most sinner draft I have ever seen. There is no team in the world that will draft this much sin. It is early game or bust. This team doesn't team fight well. It doesn't even skirmish that well, but it's very good in lane.
And isn't that just IG in a nutshell, right? Really, really good in lane and just transfer those massive lane leads into a victory elsewhere. Ooh, nice little trade to start this one off by Mole. Rookie will be able to trade it back, though. This is the thing about ranged versus melee matchups, right? Is you can just blast out a bunch more Qs and autos after the trade is done.
That's still a tad bit too much damage traded back. Mole actually losing half of his HP already onto that one. The bot lane should slightly be favorable for PP God and triggered in the earlier game just with that Q. Rookie's gonna hit an early level 2 with a good sidestep from Mole.
Yeah, so Rookie level 2 here, and with Scatter the Weak available, or maybe he'll go for the W, can threaten very heavily. PP God goes into the bot side. Lucas with the counter engage, but he's low. He's ignited, might just be finished off here. Trigger flashes forward, gets the first blood. V5 get themselves onto the borderline. Xing wants to do the same up top, but he doesn't quite have the damage to finish the shy.
This time he's going to go directly back, anticipating Xun to come up here. And look at IG's early level 1. They do have that ward, so they will know where Weiwei is onto the map. But I don't think you want to fight this Olaf right now. So at least this time, V5 do have the jungle path from bottom to top to make sure that Gnar isn't dove.
Yeah, they'll be able to protect him. Xun has to go over to his blue buff here. And the Scuttle Crab's coming up very shortly. Both junglers on that top side of the map. We could have a bit of a skirmish, and obviously Xun down 10 CS at this early stage of the game, which not ideal for him. As Weiwei moves in. Already level 4, looking for the shy. Lan Xing should be able to get himself that movement speed. The slow flashed away from. The shy gets out with his life, but they're going to take that summoner.
Yeah, and they're going to force a very awkward recall coming in from the shy. His wave is pushed up and is pretty much stuck there as Xun tries to look for a gank into the mid lane.
And you can see IG really trying to push the tempo of this game here as Xun arrives in the mid lane, but everyone is here from V5. They really want to just crash this wave and get them out of there, but it's not happening for now at very least. Lucas was roaming as well. Only level 2 right now on the support from IG. This is a really great look for V5. They're ahead in the early game against a composition that you described, Clement, as early game or bust, right? And it feels like that's a very, very bad start to things for IG.
The crazy thing is we actually have seen IG come back with these compositions quite a lot as well. We couldn't consider them completely out even if they fall behind. They know how to get these odd picks, especially with rookie Syndra, just waiting for people to recall unsynchronized backs and stuff like that to find the solo picks back into the game. In the bottom side, it should be expected that Puff and Lucas play a little bit more defensively, just with the rune choice coming in. So I was a little bit surprised that we saw such an early all-in trade coming out from IG. Shin going on to Longxing, just gonna get escort him out of this lane, knowing that Olaf actually started back onto the bottom side.
I love seeing that from Shun, where he's basically like, I know you're backing off, you know you're backing off, but I'm just going to run up to you and make sure that you don't try and get an XP range. Just going to set up the Shy to proxy this next wave, make sure he has a massive lead in the top side himself, and also just get a bit of a love tap onto Longxing as well. So that's going to be a plate now for the Shy, and that huge top lane lead is going to start to expand. Massive lead in the mid lane as well, with a 5 CS advantage in favor of Rookie right now. But way up on that top side. Probably going to have to reset here. Won't find an opportunity onto the Shy, who manages to get his recall off.
This is absolutely huge for IG. They have full vision of Wei, just watching him clear the entire Krug camp, and that's a go signal for their bottom side. Not getting the flash, not going over just yet, as PP God just completely leaves the lane. And I was counting that top lane wave. That was 8 CS that Longxing did not have access of, as he was completely zoned off of the wave.
Oh, Rookie with the ult onto Mole here. Scatter the weak on PP God. Shun has arrived to help out his mid laner. PP God's low. Crashdown gets him to shield and gets him out to safety. Shun's out of mana here. Does need to be a little bit cautious on how he plays this one out, but he's going to go and clear the control ward, because why would you be cautious when you've got Lucas roaming on this Alistair, moving up towards the mid lane himself? And IG will be able to just help Rookie out with clearing that wave, make sure that he's in a good spot. Uh-oh. This Shy's level 6. Longxing, you got to be careful, buddy. That's not a 1v1 you want to take right now.
Those have the Dominus up. This time around, it's Wei setting preemptive vision for his top lane. Is going to finally be stealing away camps, and they know that Rookie is low, so they do have that extra advantage of the mid lane priority at this point. They're willing to just extend it as much as possible. They'll get a camp out of it. Wei really should have nothing to worry about here. Whoa! Okay.
Hang on a second. Yeah, but Shun, you're level 5 and you don't have any mana, mate.
Yeah, but the top lane might be...
You don't have any laners coming to help you here. Yeah, you could see the roams coming from both mid laners, but it was Mole that would have been there first. That was not a good fight for Shun to be trying to take there. We'll be able to reset, though. He hasn't reset in ages. Is behind in XP right now. 5 CS down in that jungle role. As Wei, you can see how much focus he's putting towards the top side. He knows that if he's not over on that side of the map, Longxing will start to get demolished.
And he's actually outside of vision this time around, just going for the lane kick. The pushback comes through.
There's the play. Flash not available. The Shy has Dominus if he needs to use it, but opts out. Doesn't even go for the ulti, just accepts his fate.
And know he's going to fall down regardless there. Just saves the cooldown. And that was a really smart game coming in from Wei. They do have the timers on Krugs, so they just expect him to be taking Krugs at that point. The Shy thought he still had a little bit of leeway to get the shove going, and he pays the ultimate price for it. Now IG looking to orchestrate a dive onto this bot lane, at least to get this blue buff.
Yeah, they'll be able to, at minimum, grab the blue buff for themselves, unless PP God has something to say about it. He doesn't, unfortunately. It will be taken. Scuttle Crab as well on this bottom side. So a minor advantage there for IG, but ultimately it's V5 pulling ahead. They are 800 gold, almost 1,000 now in favor, or in their favor, sorry. And my question is, what is the next step for IG? How do you try and find your way into this game? Because it feels like we've talked about how they need to be the ones getting advantages for themselves, but like in the bottom lane, down in CS, losing a plate there as well. Trigger's finding himself an advantage with that early kill that he got. In the mid lane, there's a bit of a CS lead for IG, but nothing to write home about. Same for the top side. Like, sure, Longxing has missed some XP and some minions, but he's not. He's still going to be functional in the team fights.
I definitely think it should be Rookie roaming and starting the action for the rest of the team. He has the shove against Silas at this point. There's no TP onto Mole. So if he just leaves the lane, there's a lot of pressure, especially on the bottom side. If you look at the wards right now, it definitely feels like IG are trying to orchestrate something there and trying to get the kill onto PP God. PP God's like the easiest member for them to target out here. And with those wards catching Olaf on the bottom side, they are willing to just start this Herald up. Though PP God is very early on the roam, and Longxing is the next target.
Yeah, Shun going for Longxing, who's level 6, and with that ulti, the Shy actually could be the one in trouble instead. Shun, I don't know if he can protect his top laner on this one. The Shy has flash, but I don't know if it's going to work. Oh, Scout the Weak across the team. Shy still goes down, though. It's a kill for Longxing, and another pickup for V5 with Herald on the map. You talked about it. Herald is their win condition. This is how this team snowballs their leads.
They love to group mid, all 5-man, drop a Herald, get a double charge, and blow the map wide open. That's their bread and butter play, and I love PP God here. This is, I think, a really smart play for him. They're getting Longxing ahead through that difficult laning phase. They're taking the Herald down with him, and it looks like they're just going to go for potentially a straight drop top to extend the lead onto Longxing here. I'm not going to go for it just yet. Like, typically V5 does hold on to their Heralds for quite a bit. They like to have the full group. They like to get the pick before the Herald, and that just blows the map wide open as they drop it on undefended towers.
We'll see if they can find that pick for themselves. Rookie with a heavy trade onto Mole, who does have Dominus available, so you don't really expect Rookie to be able to find a kill in that matchup right now, as Mole just going to be trying to in this wave before it hits the tower here. So a fairly quiet early game, honestly, in the grand scheme of things, especially comparatively to game number 1. And it's because V5 are doing an excellent job across the board to temper this aggression from IG. And just remember, this is V5 fighting for their playoff life right here. If they can win this series, they keep the dream alive. They could potentially eke out playoffs over a team like LNG, which is kind of an insane thing to say, right? When you consider how the split went for V5 across a lot of it. When you look at the lineup for LNG, a lot of people had really high hopes for that roster. It's possible that V5 knock them out of playoff contention if they can have a great performance here. Longxing, look at this wave control from him, although it did let one hit the tower.
We are seeing the pings coming out from V5, and the play that they're looking at is the PP God roam. They're pinging out the scuttle. They know when that scuttle is going to go down, and they have full river control. So what this means is we should look for bot lane for Trigger when he's actually taking the wave underneath his tower, for PP God to try and make the roam onto mid. That would be a great place for them to just drop the Herald down and potentially get the kill onto Rookie. They're searching for that play, but unfortunately a really good counter ward coming out. And it just means that I don't think this PP God is going to be successful as Weiwei tries to find his advantage.
Shun just gets the stun in, gets the phase rush proc with a blast of a Phoenix Fire onto Weiwei, and then zips out. Lucas moving in, though, to help Shun grab himself that Gromp, and will be able to maintain control of their own jungle, not allowing too much to go over to the side of V5. Obviously, no Herald up right now. It's still in the pocket of Weiwei. It's about 2/3 done, though, and now a TP on towards him. Rookie looking for the Viking, but Ragnarok will keep him safe for now. Rookie very low under the tower. What a mistake to make. Rookie steps way too far forward and is just brutally punished. Everything is going wrong for IG, and now more of a fight as they go on to Lucas, who has to just go in with their headbutt. Longxing engaged upon, but he's turning into Mega. That's not the moment. Gravity Well comes in as well. And the Shy locked into the fray. Flashes out to safety, but there's a boulder through the wall by Longxing. He's a Rock Weaver, apparently, as that is going to be yet more damage coming down onto IG's dignity, as this tower will be annihilated.
The Cookie strikes again. He TPs into the middle of the enemy team composition and takes a tower shot for his life. That was a super ambitious play. And also in the bot lane, Puff just walks into the tower and dies. What happened there?
Wait, what?
A Puff with both summoners just walks into the tower and dies. I don't know what happened there, but I'm just so shocked by this.
I have no idea. That is something. He had shield bow as well. I don't know. Well, I guess we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see what happens on the replay. IG, how do you look so good in game 1? And then this is your game 2. I don't understand this team, even remotely. Like, IG are just a different species.
Consistently inconsistent is their motto, as they've been bouncing between series wins and series losses very early on. Now Mo might find that engage onto him. Attract Repel is there, but misses.
Scout of the Week available here for Rookie. They can go on towards Mole with the Dominus, though. That's going to be enough to force the play away. Lucas on the flank. Scout of the Week onto PP God. Looks like Shun wants to follow up on this plate as well. The crash down. But can they finish this tanky rail? The answer is yes, finally. But V5 look to answer the play themselves. The Shy in the middle of everyone, but that's a huge gnar again from Lunching. He truly has awoken. Double kill for Mole as V5 take absolute control.
You can feel IG on the ropes here. They know this composition has an expiration date on it, so they overchased into the mid lane, and that was a beautiful TP coming in from Longxing. Cuts off the entire back line, stun into the wall, and now V5 are up 6,000 gold at 15 minutes. We were talking about V5 not winning a game when they're behind, but this is very much the opposite. As take a look at what Puff did here. He already takes 2 tower shots. Okay.
Okay. Look, let's be honest. Puff has been a bit of a weak point for the IG roster as of late. It's not usually been him literally running it. It's usually been unfortunate team fights and things, but that one is that one's really not good. That is
spotted out
pretty
here. Forces the TP from IG, and they still are not going to get purchased into this Drake pit. That was a purely defensive teleport with nothing really gained here.
Yeah, so it's just going to be the Shy's teleport used here for not a lot of anything, because V5 still get themselves the Drake, still have complete control of the map. And again, they're on the composition that scales real well. They are ahead, and we're past the 15-minute mark, so statistically speaking, we're on a roll here for V5, and their win rate when ahead is like top 3 in the league as well. So when they are ahead, they snowball real well.
They definitely know how to close this one out, and there's so many different avenues. I'm really looking at Mold to have a massive game at this point. Like we said, a lot of Silas's do favor the Unbreakable Will. You get the early 50% damage reduction. That's over 3,000 gold worth in just raw stats. And you just take that to the bank. You go into the back line, Kallista's low damage, Syndra's only burst, and then Renekton's probably going for your back too. So there's going to be no one stopping the Kingslayer from coming out multiple times in these team fights, and he's going to be unkillable for 7 seconds with that stolen ultimate. As we see V5 going in, trying to get the kill on the Rookie.
Yeah, they want to go for Rookie here, but they're quite happy even if they don't get the kill. They can threaten this tower for themselves. And Lucas has to move up to try and defend, try and help Cookie up in the top side, who's really not having a good game for himself, let's be honest. I just double-checked the stats as well. V5 are the 2nd best team in the league at closing out the game when they have a lead at 15 minutes, only behind JDG. But V5 with an 87.5% win rate when they're ahead at the 15-minute mark. This truly is the all-or-nothing team. They win the early game, they destroy. They lose it, they fall apart.
This was a bit of a weird one, honestly. IG were still very much in control of waves until the Rookie teleport. That was the straw that broke the camel's back. Everyone going into that, I believe that was a 3-for-nothing trade on their end. And then they follow up with another teamfight over chase. So yeah, we're seeing the limitations of IG's composition. It's actually not that easy for them to find engages. So even when they have lane priority, they often have to overextend to get the kills to actually hunt them down, and it just leaves them really wide open for V5 to counter-engage onto that one. They have to go for the overloaded play, but Weiwei catches them out directly and the Everfrost goes down.
This is 2v3, and I'm favoring Mole and Weiwei, to be quite honest. Lucas goes down, and they can chase for more as well. PP God is on the way. Undertow slows Rookie. Mole is just waiting for the opportunity, but stunned by the Scat of the Week. Another slow, though. Mole can make his way in. Flash from Rookie to keep himself alive. You can see PP God just off in the wings, looking for an opportunity to re-engage the fight. But Trigger now can just push down the mid lane. Like, we've not really talked about Trigger all game because he's been usually on the opposite side of the action. But he's got 200 CS at 18.5 minutes into the game. He is absolutely monstrous. He's building Armor Pen as well, so there's nothing that Shun can do to stop him. It feels like there are endless win conditions right now for V5. Everything that they could hope for is going their way.
Yeah, IG just drafted themselves a super risky composition. To be fair, this is what they have drafted all along. They definitely favor this style of play. And even Rookie's having a fun time. You can see that he's laughing. He knows that this one is pretty much in the bin, done and dusted.
Yeah.
There's no way that they're coming back into this. So, honestly, it's kind of sad, but you can tell that IG's maybe even looking at Game 3 drafts at this point. Just not a lot that they can actually claw back with this one at all.
Let's be honest as well, like, we saw the interview from Rookie at the start where he's like, this one doesn't really matter. We're just going to have fun and see what works with this one. Like, which is kind of insane because this one does matter. This would lock playoffs for IG. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know if he hasn't looked at the standings and he is unaware of the fact that they actually can not make playoffs here if they lose out this series, and then they have one more series remaining against LGD. Which is maybe why he's under the impression that this series really doesn't matter.
The BLG can actually overtake them, and we have to remind everyone, LGD did take them out of Worlds and playoffs last time around, so...
That's true.
It's not exactly good omens coming in as Mo tries to find the abduct.
Yeah, I will say, bit of a different LGD.
True.
A little bit more raw power on that previous roster. Here we go, though. We've got a fight at our hands. The Shy knocked up. There's a Gravity Storm as well. The Shy actually manages to get out with his life, and it's a great knock-up coming out from Lucas to disengage. IG, actually pretty good play there, but then Trigger jumps in onto Shun, forces him out of the jungle. And guess what? There's a Herald. We talked about it. The double Herald in the mid lane. They can blow this game open straight towards the inhib. They can go punching now. He's looking for revenge on the Shy after game number 1, and he has found it. 3-0-3, and he's feeling good. That's the mid lane inhib cracked. There's a Drake up, there's a Baron up. V5 can do what they want, but they might just go for a fight here. Shun's real quick, but he can't close the gap.
Okay, no one else wanted to follow up on that one. PP Gods just give it a rest. We're going to go back. We're going to go for the Baron. And this is when IG find most of their comebacks. When people are trying to back, but they don't do it all together. This is called the, you know, I really like the term from Ellis, but he calls this wiggle. It's like coming from teams like DRX, where they're not really supposed to win with their draft, but they just hang around and try to pick people off. And sometimes that's enough to get them back into the game.
Yeah, it's that very creative gameplay. I'm not sure why he's calling it wiggle. Is it like wiggle room?
You just stay on the periphery
like room for mistakes
of the enemy team, and then you just stay there and just go back and forth, and you try to goad them to overextend or try to back, catch them out when they're trying to back. Not at the same time. So you're like
literally wiggling in their vision. I see. Okay, okay. I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm following the play.
He does not recommend it though.
No, I can't imagine LS recommends that kind of play, but you know what? I recommend it. And I'm an esteemed color caster of the LPL. He is real quick, but how quick is the question? Slowed here as PP God just whiffs everything. And Shun actually just legs it down the lane instead. Very quick is the answer. He is out of there.
But here we go. The Baron's going to be started. Looking at the abilities, there's no long-range steal potential. IG pretty much have to wait for V5 until they fully commit and get a 5-man scatter of the week. That's kind of the dream scenario for them there, as they do have the teleport from Rookie. Trying to join this one, but she's so low.
Yeah, stun across the team. Shun forced to flash away. PP got pretty low, though. There's an Ignite. Might just finish a kill off here. Good start, but Trigger onto the back line. It looked good for a second there for IG, but I don't think it's good enough as Mole is 2v1ing at the same time. Just goes on to Shun to finish it off. Mole is angry, and he wants a bit of a win for himself. Rookie goes down to Trigger. That's an easy ace for V5, and PP God sacrifices himself for the good of V5, and now they can charge down the mid lane. This will be V5 pushing us to 3 games and keeping the playoff dream alive.
I can't believe